Oh, the game has changed immensely just since I've been coaching. In that you have the internet, you know these players are under so much more pressure. You used to, years ago, when you played, the city that you played in, pretty much everything was known. You know, if you were doing poorly or doing well, but it wasn't such a national story all the time. You didn't see it on ESPN. There was no ESPN. There was no USA Today. There was no internet, so that your grandmother in South Dakota didn't know, you know, that you just pitched really poorly that night, or you went 0 for the last 18, or so you didn't hear it all, you know. And now these guys, you know, the littlest thing could go wrong, and they're going to hear about it from, you know, they may turn the TV off, they may not read the papers, but they're going to get text messages from somebody that saw it, and you know, it's undeniable that they're going to know the information that's out there, good, bad, or indifferent, and it's instantaneous. It's by the time you leave the field and get in the clubhouse, it's there. And I kind of feel bad for them because, you know, when you're struggling, it's kind of nice to just be able to crawl a little space and try to figure things out and not get bombarded. And it's a tough enough game without having to deal with that. But these guys really get hit with it a lot, and I think it takes a different person to deal with it, and some ways they deal with it isn't the best. It's a constant reminder that the bottom line at the end of the day is you've got one thing to do, and that's concentrate on the pitch you have to make, the pitch at hand, execute the pitch, let the ball come out of your hand the way it can, regardless of what's going on about you. It doesn't matter. When you get out there and you get ready to perform, you've got to really think small. And when you get bombarded with stuff, it becomes tougher and tougher. You really have to insulate yourself from that when you perform out there. And I think in today's world that has become tougher, but it's a constant reminder. And guys that get it, and you can almost see it, you know, like when you watch a guy, you can go, he's got it. You know, he figured it out. And it's a 2 or 3 year process, you know, going through the ups and downs. Guys that come up and have success right away, you worry a little bit because, you know, they're going to go through the bumps in the road. And guys that come up and have had success throughout careers in the minor leagues and gotten up here quick, it can hit them fast and it can hit them hard. It's a different game. And what they ultimately end up going back to understanding is what works for them and what doesn't, what they have to get out of their mind and get out of their head and go out there and perform, and what will allow them to do that. And that is a different world today because of the information that's out there. I mean, just the sabermetrics alone, these guys can get bombarded with it. You can go on different channels and different stations, different internet sites, and see how much, you know, your fastball is breaking or not sinking, and how much your curveball is breaking, and you can see every pitch you throw and have it analyzed. And I'm not so sure that's always good, because at the end of the day, the hitter's going to analyze how you threw the ball. I think that's changed because of the information now and how fast it gets out there. It used to be New York because it was so big and there were so many papers there and so much information that it was different. I think any market now is about the same, and because the fans know everything that's going on. New York, they probably knew a lot more just because of how many people showed up to report it. The whole, yeah, it was just different. But now, it's everywhere you go. So I'm not sure that you get players that can't perform in New York and can still perform other places. It used to be that way. And I could give you names, I'd prefer not to, but there are guys that just couldn't do it, you know, and now I think if you can't do it there, you're not going to do it anywhere. You know, I guess there's some truth in the old days of Frank Sinatra's song, you know, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, but I think in today's world it's changed enough that it's all over the place. It's standard fare. In 1990, Jose Rijo was, I think, from July on, the best pitcher in baseball, and probably had more to do with us winning a World Series than a lot of players ever had an impact on a team that won a World Series. Usually it's and it was a group of guys on that team position players throughout, and our bullpen obviously with the three guys down there with Dibble, Charlton, and Myers. They were a force to be reckoned with, but without Rijo's innings and the quality of those innings going through the end of the season and the playoffs and the World Series, he was incredible to watch. Every day he took the mound and he could have pitched a no-hitter. And, he threw a whole lot of sliders, but no one could hit it. I think that year was as special with him as a player as any year could be. In the bullpen, I had Charlton and Dibble in the minor leagues 2 years before that, so I was pretty familiar with them, and they ended up being such a big part of that team and part of the Reds for the years after. I kind of approach it that players get the credit when they do well, and I'll take some of the heat when they don't, because I think it allows them to get back on their game a lot quicker when things aren't going right, and I think that's just the way the game should work, and I kind of approach it like that. So the guys throughout the years I've had, I've been fortunate to be around. Winning the World Series in Florida in '97, Jim Leland managed the team, and it was unbelievable to be around because he runs the game and runs the team as well as you can. But the pitching staff there with Leiter and Kevin Brown and Robbie Nen at the end of the game was a really special pitching staff. Alex Fernandez, till he got hurt towards the end of the year. And Livan Hernandez is a 20-year-old kid, pitched unbelievable for us. And when he came up, after I think the second month of the season he came up, and really helped pitch us through the World Series, was as big a part of that staff as anybody, and competed as well as anybody. He was tremendous. He could really pitch at 20 years old. So all those guys, it's fun to be around them. It's when you look back on it, winning World Series is obviously a lot of fun, but when you're going through it, when you're the 11th inning of the 7th game of the '97 World Series, and you're looking at Leland on the bench going, if we don't win this now, who's going to pitch? And we're both kind of shrugging our shoulders going, we don't have many places to go. And Livan Hernandez actually would have had to come back on one-day rest. So that, those things aren't comfortable to go through, but at the end of the day, when a group of guys does through 162 games, through the playoffs and through the World Series, it's a real grind. And to see that group at the end of the year celebrating is really special. And I've been on both ends of it where, you get knocked out of the playoffs in 3 games in the first series that's short, and then you get all the way, you win 11 games through the World Series and you win the World Series. It's a lot of fun, but the hardest part is the 162 game schedule, and that's what gets lost when you get to the playoffs. And I know with the wild cards and everything that it's been great for attendance and publicity and TV and all that stuff, but you play 162 games and you win a division, you should have some accommodation for that. And it's tougher with all the wild cards and the playoffs. And I think now it's put some impact on winning the division, but it's also made it tougher.